Was that an hour? Can we talk more?
What just happened? Gonna blow
that
them up in a good way.
Every life leaves a trail of lessons. Join me as we interview the most amazing people. The Conversation.
Welcome back. We're continuing the topic of exploring your legacy. Today with Dr. Gunther. This is part 2 of our 2-part conversation. So what do you want your legacy to be? Because I mean,
So in anticipation of discussing this with you, I saw a great quote, and it's from Nelson Mandela, who's always, an amazing.
Who always has great quotes, right?
So it basically said, first you must free yourself, and his quote was shorter. First you must free yourself, and then you must help others to be free, and you must serve always. And so
That's it. That's you.
Yeah.
That's totally you.
My dream is to
I love you.
use my tolerance of chaos to help other people have more certainty. How weird is that?
Wow. First for yourself, then help free others, and serve always.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yes.
I love you.
I love you too.
All right.
So my final question is about your own kind of health journey. I know you had breast cancer, and this was after you left the system and were on your own. So tell me kind of how you were able to navigate that journey.
Right. So, I mean, that's a great question, and I would say I'm still navigating that journey very much. So I was diagnosed, I had a mammogram on April 1st, so April Fool's Day 2016. And really all I wanted at that point in my life was to get away from the big hospital systems. And I did professionally, and then I was pulled back in personally. Actually, the nurse put my mammogram up on the screen and was like, oh, it looks great. And I told her repeatedly I was a physician. She had a kind of a hard time understanding that. So I saw my own breast cancer, and there was a lot of comedy of errors that was not so funny throughout my entire care.
Weird.
My breast was lost in between 2 hospital systems. So my chemo didn't start out as smoothly as it could have. They ultimately found it and sent it for the information we needed. I had an allergic reaction to my chemotherapy that's very unusual, and was in the hospital, went in and out 3 days in a row, getting progressively sicker until I was admitted for what's called anaphylaxis.
Wow.
I had radiation. That went well. I didn't get radiation burns. I had a hysterectomy because of extremely heavy bleeding after some of my chemo drugs, which is rare but can happen. And then I had a blood clot because of my hysterectomy. So I kind of checked all the boxes of
Oh my gosh.
the stuff that shouldn't have happened.
Wow.
And what I'm still pretty sad and a little bit angry about the whole thing, and working on all of that. What being diagnosed with breast cancer has done, it's actually made me a little more angry at choosing to be a doctor, because I realized I chose to be a doctor with some assumptions that I had a lot of time, that I had plenty of time to do all these other things. And so then I think we all, when we're diagnosed, the first thing you think about is time and your family.
And your 2 girls.
Yeah, and I have 2 girls, and there's some things we're going to have to talk about when they're a little older. I've had a few patients say, oh, now you understand what it's like to be a patient in the system. And the sad thing is I didn't need this personal experience to understand it. In fact, it actually made me realize the system as a whole. I mean, the actual care I got when you get to the physician or you get to the nurse anesthetist, the actual care I got was pretty phenomenal for the most part. I had one physician that was not a good match for me, and I had to switch. But for someone who knows how to advocate for themselves in the system, someone who knows how the system works, we still had a lot of speed bumps, a lot of things that did not go in a systematized way. So right now I get scans, and I'm on a medication for 10 years that makes me tired, and has made me had to change my business plan a little bit, but it's also given me some opportunity and more clarity. I wasn't someone who had a high BS tolerance before. but I was compassionate, so I never wanted to like get up and leave a room or something. But I just don't have very much patience for a lot of things that don't inspire me anymore, if that makes sense. So
Like your perspective completely shifted.
it did and it didn't, and I'm still working on that.
Okay.
I'm angry at my body. I was very powerful, very comfortable in my skin, could do anything physically before. And so as a tall, strong woman, I mean, move things, build things, change things. You know, in one weekend, I refinished a vintage table and 8 chairs and reupholstered them. And that was just like what I do. Oh, I'm going to do this now. And the anti-cancer medications make that extremely difficult. So I'm still kind of grieving that and finding my place with that. I've just kind of connected with a group of women who are all very similar in their cancer journey, and we're going to go climb a big mountain. So I have to get in shape.
Wow.
Yeah, but
When are you doing that?
End of July.
Okay.
So it's through a group called Expedition Inspiration. That's just really amazing.
So was your legacy the same prior to the cancer, or do you think that you would, if I would have asked
Right.
you before the cancer, what's your legacy? What would you have said then versus now?
Right. I think the biggest challenge for me being a physician is I try to be very present wherever I am, and my family pays a very high price for that. So my goal with my breast cancer is to really have my time reflect my priorities in a better way. And my patients are such a huge priority. My business is such a huge priority. But my family is a much greater priority. And I still haven't figured that out. I still am not putting my time where it proportionally should go. So that's something I struggle with. But it's something I'm slowly getting more clarity on and trying to set boundaries and and I don't like the word boundaries, but I'm working on it, and trying to really push things in a direction that allows me to take advantage of my expertise and what I've built, but also helps me carve out more time to be available to my family. That's paid a really huge price for me to create what I've created.
It's the never-ending journey, my friend.
I know.
It never ends. It never ends.
I'm sure have you heard the entrepreneur analogy? And someone shared this with me, but it's that you see this mountain in the distance and it seems so far away, and you think, I am going to conquer that mountain. And so my climbing a real mountain is kind of apropos, and you think, no, I'm going to do it. And you drive closer and closer, and you get your gear and you make up your mind and you're going to do it. And you get there and you stand at the base of the mountain, and all of a sudden, well, it's a lot steeper than it looked from when you decided to climb it, but you're determined. So, and you've never done it before, so you start going, and your gear's not right, and it doesn't work, and the path you plan doesn't work, but you're making your way, and you're making your way, and it takes longer, and it's a different path, and it's a different experience than you thought, and you get to the top, and you didn't realize from the ground that there's actually a mountain right behind that. And so you go down, and and you're and entrepreneurship, in my opinion,
I was like, that kind of sounds like life,
yeah,
actually.
Yeah, it's just this slug. And what are you going to do?
You don't have the gear, yeah.
Sometimes you might need to sit down. Sometimes you might need to adjust your gear. Sometimes you might need someone to pull you forward. But you can either stagnate, roll down the hill, and cry in the swamp, or you can just suck it up and realize sometimes you have to take a break, but you got to just keep climbing.
Never stop going.
Yeah.
Love it. Thank you to Dr. Gunther for being with us today. We so appreciate her knowledge, her expertise, and her perspective. She is bold, you guys, speaking out in a system that is not working for most people working in that system.